It's on. I probably need 2 bars when I get through. Thank you. Last time I talked, Jackie told me that Pastor told me how many more minutes I had, but I didn't hear him. Honestly, I didn't. So I went over the time. I always over-prepare, but this time I did not. I was just trying to get that last little bit in. Let's look at 2 Samuel. And we're looking at the 15th chapter. You know, last Sunday, we talked about betrayal. And that was a very good discussion that we had. So today I'm going to go finish the rest of 15, and I'm not going over the time. I'm going to try to stay within the time limit. Let's look at verse 13. We're down where a messenger came and told David that the men of Israel were following Absalom. Now, during this time, Jerusalem had really progressed. I mean, people were living very comfortable, but yet the devil stepped in. When you think about whenever you're doing well, something always happens that seems to throw you back. So the same thing happened to David. Here's his son, one he loved, and I understand Absalom was a good-looking man. Says hair fell in locks around him. So you just imagine that. So, and then he was David's favorite son. And for your favorite child, which you're not supposed to have, to do what he's doing, I know it hurt him. So a messenger came and told David, the hearts of the men of Israel are after Absalom. Then let's look at 14. And David said unto all his servants that were with him at Jerusalem, arise and let us flee, for we shall not else escape from Absalom. Make speed to depart, lest he overtake us suddenly and bring evil upon us and smite the city with the edge of the sword. Now he's running for his life from his child, one that he loved dearly. And you think about that. Then David, all the servants gathered, the ones that were with him. On 16, it says that the king, I'm down to verse 16. It says, and the king went forth, and all his household after him. And the king left 10 women, which were concubines, to keep the house. Otherwise, these were David's other wives. And he left them there to keep the house. All right, let's look at 17. And the king went forth, and all the people after him, and tarried in a place that was far off. He had to leave Jerusalem completely. He had to flee. If he had not, Absalom would have killed him. All right, let's look at 20. No, 19, I'm sorry. Then said the king to Ittai the Gittite, wherefore goest thou also with us? Return to thy place, and abide with the king, for thou art a stranger and also an exile. Whereas thou mayest but yesterday, should I this day make thee go up and down with us. And that's the truth. He's going to go up and down, just fleeing from Absalom. He said, with us, seeing I go whither I may return, thou take back thy brethren, mercy and truth be with thee. And listen to this answer that this man gave him. He said, and I answered the king and said, as the Lord liveth, and as my lord the king liveth, sure in what place my lord the king shall be, whether in death or life, even there also will thy servant be. Now that's loyalty. That's loyalty. Now, what I want you all to do on this side, get together and discuss how you feel about loyalty. How do you feel about loyalty? And pick your spokesman. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. And I talk longer than that. Okay, 3 minutes. Well, they already on this side. This side. Well, 5 minutes. And talk about loyalty. Because that's one trait that's very important to me. It's also, the Bible speaks about loyalty, being loyal. Now, you got your watch, Jackie? Let me know when the time is up. It's the opposite of betrayal, loyalty. Loyal. Are you loyal? I could have brought that money. We're talking about what loyalty means to you. Uh-huh. talking to them. You can get in whatever group you want to get in. Mm-hmm. I just read a verse about this servant who was very loyal to David, and he was a Philistine. He wasn't a Jew. He was a Philistine. And that's why David said you're in exile. You don't have to go with me. But he said, I'll go with you to the death. Now that's loyalty. Time, Jackie. I don't. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Okay.
Which side you want to start over here?
Over here.
Okay.
Some of us had different opinions about it. Loyalty. I feel like it's a very important trait. And I said loyalty, we can say we loyal, but it's based on what you say. Okay, I can say I'm loyal. We talked about character traits at school this week, and I was telling children, when you say that you're something, you have to demonstrate that. So what you do, how you act, is how people determine that. So if you say you're loyal to someone, but you're out doing something and saying something different, you're not loyal. And I told them it's a very important trait to me. If I'm your friend, I'm going to be loyal to you. And they said, well, Kari said not 100%. Should you be? He don't feel like anyone is 100% loyal. I said, if I'm for you, I'm 100% loyal. He said, well, they show you something different. Even when you show me something different, I can distance myself from you, but that don't mean what you told me, I'm going to go back and put it out there in the street. I just know that person wasn't what I thought, but that doesn't mean that what they confided in me that I'm going to put that out there. I don't do that. So I think it's a very important trait, but we know in the Bible there was a lot of betrayal. We know that and everything, but I think it's very important, but it's hard to find that. I do know that. It's hard to find that in this society. But anybody?
All right, this side. This side got bigger.
I think there's a person that's a servant, and then they can, a person that is a servant would put their life on the line for whoever they are serving, and if they do that, they are really showing some real strong loyalty. If they would put their life on the line, or do whatever to, to serve whoever they is that's in control over us, in charge over them. So I don't know. I'm gonna let somebody else put their input in. So that's a sound.
Any others?
Well, I would like to think if I'm being loyal to someone, or if someone vice versa is being loyal to me, they should be able to trust me. I should have their best interests, and I'm gonna be loyal to a fault. And I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna ride or die with them until they probably X or cross me. And it might not be the same. So, but I just feel that when you're being loyal, that the person should be able to trust you wholeheartedly, knowing that you have their best interest and they have your best interest.
Okay.
No.
You don't have any comments, Pastor? Now, to me, loyalty is very important, especially in that I grew up here. It is very important to me. So you also have to demonstrate that. And I try my best to demonstrate. You don't talk about Etta Bland, and you don't talk about my sorority sisters. You cross the line. Now that's the way I am. And if I'm your friend, I'm your friend. They can tell me you running down the street naked. They better not come to me with it. Now, that's just the way I am. And I love my friends, but now I just got a small group of them. And I'm very leery of opening myself up to people. Very leery. And it's because I grew up here. So let's get back to the lesson. And this servant of David said, even in death, and he was a Philistine. He was studying, to become a part of them. But by the time they had to go on the run, he hadn't finished it, and he went right with them. And as Christians, God expects us to do the same thing. In our little church, we ought to be loyal to each other. All right, let's look at verse 23. And all the country wept with a loud voice, and all the people passed over. The king also himself passed over the brook of Kidron, and all the people passed over toward the way of the wilderness.
Gene, you asked me did I have something to say, and I said I didn't. But let me say this. I think that loyalty is a dangerous thing because you can hold on to the wrong thing. And that's I see that more than being loyal to the right thing, because to me loyalty is first cousin to faithfulness. And faithfulness is something that I reserve for God. Man can say he's going to be faithful, but by the very nature that he's a man, he's not faithful. He's going to come short. And so I see it more as a negative thing than I do as a positive thing. I think that I really owe no loyalty to anybody but God, because man going to go left and he going to go right no matter who he is. But God is always going to be right. That's one of his characteristics. He is just. He's true. So to me, I've seen loyalty do more harm than good. You take, for example, joining yourself. You say you're saved, and you are part of a congregation. It may have been time for you to leave 10 years ago, but because you are loyal, your family go to church there, and then the people. What I found out is the way that people hold on to you is by playing on your codependence. And I know you don't think you can be codependent, because I didn't think I could be. I thought that was something for weak folk, to be codependent. And what keeps you from understanding codependence, I had to go on the internet and look it up, because I said, not me. But what they do is to keep you codependent. In other words, you somewhere you should have been gone. But to keep you there, and they always got a crisis. That's one of the things I look for in my relationship with people, is they always need me. And see, that's how they keep you. They keep you because they need you. And then, you put on a Superman cape and you run to their rescue. But after you get through with all your heroics, now, mind you, when you go to help them, you always have to neglect what you should be doing. That's another sign I look for, Mother Brewer, is every time I go to help them, I hurt me. And then the third thing I look for is when I get through, they don't appreciate it. They always got a crisis, and I always end up neglecting what I should be doing. And then the third thing is that they don't appreciate it. And that happens over and over and over again in the wrong type of relationship. Because the relationship that God provides for you, they don't really want nothing from you. Amen. So to me, loyalty has been more of a negative. I have to watch it. Because most of us, if God has saved you And even if he hadn't saved you, if you just got a good heart, you just want to help people. You see what I'm saying? And you loyal, you're not going to run off when people get in a bad shape. And so to those people, what you have to watch out for is, am I becoming codependent? Am I really hurting this person? Because what I found, I said this is my last point, what I found is when you do this to people, you end up crippling them. I take, for example, my mom. If I hadn't had something in me, my mom would have killed me. It would have. She would have killed me. She would have. And actually, I don't even say that because it's on tape. She would have. And the reason is because my mom loved her children. She loved her grandchildren and her great-grandchildren. And I don't care what they do. I don't care how they act. She's not gonna turn her back on them. And so, Mother Brewer, I could have rode that train all the way to hell. But it was just something inside of me that I can't. I'm not the kind of person that like nobody. I don't like nobody to take care of me. I don't like it. You got some people that love for folk to do for them. I'm not that kind of person. My food tastes better when I buy it. I'm just sorry. But you got some folk they love. Oh my God, something free. When something free, they line up down the road. And I'm not that kind of person.
Don't even need it.
Sims and I were laughing because of the church that we came out of. And I guess we stayed there. He didn't. He left before I did. And he left before I did. But anyway, you grew up there. You know, your daddy and your mama, all of them then. And you do feel a sense of loyalty. But because I had had a teacher before coming out here, it was easier for me to leave. And I left, I haven't been back except when Lady Deborah spoke there.
You said you had a teacher. The ultimate teacher for me is the Holy Spirit. Now, it's not an audible thing, but it's something pulling, saying, you know, if you're not getting what your spirit is yearning for, it's time to move. And so before I stay in a place that I don't belong, I'd rather stay at home.
And I guess being loyal to a relationship that's detrimental, and you're not only hurting yourself, you're hurting the other person. And in the end, they despise you. They despise you. I don't know if you've ever been through this, that the person that you help the most is the one that can't stand you. You can have children, and the child that you run and do most for, you don't have no relationship with them. But the one you don't never have to do nothing for, they remember your birthday. And so I just don't think, I love loyalty, I do, but I don't think that we are supposed to handicap people. And you know, and I try to pastor like that. I try to pastor. I've seen black preachers just handicap folk. I've seen them buy them cars and do this and do that. Give you an example. I got a basketball goal in my yard that was just tore down and stuff. So I put it out in the yard. So the neighbors got it. And they playing on it, the little kids. And it crossed my mind this morning, Mother, just go to Walmart and buy them a new, you know, I can afford $300-400 to buy a new, I could do that. But something else told me, said, no, that's not your place. Their parents supposed to buy them, boy. You're not supposed to. And so I think, just like Brother Sim said, in the end, you have to be led by the Spirit. A lot of times, let me just say me, I have meant well, but it was me. It wasn't out of the Spirit. And in situations like that, when they don't appreciate it later on, see, I'm ready to cuss. I'm ready to. I didn't say I would. I said I'm ready.
All right, let's look at verse 24. What time is it? Uh-oh.
Just teach, Gene. Gene, just teach. I tell you when. I come up there and take the mic from you. Just go.
And lo, Zadok. Also, all the Levites were with him, bearing the ark of the covenant of God. And they set down the ark of God, and Abithar went up until all the people had done passing out of the city. So David told this priest, take it back to Jerusalem. You know, the glory of God was in that ark. And David told him, said, take it back to Jerusalem. He could have kept it, but he didn't. And he said, take it back to Jerusalem. I want all of you all to go and stay. 26. This one was, I enjoyed reading that. But if he thus say, he's talking about God, I have no delight in thee, behold, here I am. Let him do to me as seemeth good unto him. Let him do to me as seemeth good to him. He's talking about God. Let him do to me. And you know, when we are going through, you're going to go through a wilderness. You're going to have trials and tribulations. You're going to go through those. But remember, God has your back. He has your back. And all you have to do is turn to him. All right, let's look at (28). See, I will tarry in the plain of the wilderness until there come word from you to certify me. When I looked at that wilderness, I was thinking about David is going, and it's going to be a long time before he gets back to Jerusalem. He's going to have to constantly be on the run. It's going to be a long time before he gets back. But listen at what David did. Let's look at verse 30. And David went up by the ascent of Mount Olivet. He's getting ready to go up and pray. And as they were climbing, he covered his head, took off his shoes, and the people with him, the men, covered their heads. And as they were going up, they were weeping. David was going to pray to see what God had for him next. And I've gone through a lot of stuff. Nobody knew it, but people who were very close to me. You know, it's not easy for a woman to talk to another woman because you don't know whether she's going to put it out there.
You don't know it, let me tell you.
But anyway, you have to be careful about who you talk to. I say that. And I found that in men just like the women. Okay, some of them. Yeah, but he's going through his wilderness. Let's look at 31. And one told David, saying, now this was his counselor. He knew everything about David. You think about somebody getting close to you. They know all your secrets.
Gene, let me ask you a question. Why
Yeah.
does it matter about somebody telling it?
I'm a private person.
Okay. Is it pride?
I'm just private. It's not pride.
We don't mind people knowing the good thing.
Huh?
We don't mind people knowing the good things.
Well, I talk about the good things with those in my circle.
But what I'm saying is, why do we not want people to know the, you know, I don't think you that much different than anybody else, than me or anybody else in here. But we don't want people to. We want people to know the good things, but we don't want them to know the other thing because they're embarrassing. We don't want people to know embarrassing things. But why? It's not going to change it.
No.
It is what it is, no matter whether you know it and talk about it or not.
But
So what is it that bothers? I'm more interested. The reason I'm here this morning is I'm more interested in what's going to help me to live a better life. Okay? And so I identify with what you're saying. I don't like to be embarrassed. And the things that are embarrassing, I try to keep them up under wraps. But I've never been able to keep them up under wraps. Sooner or later, the truth going to come out. And so what is it that causes me so much discomfort? And then, you know, I can say it with some kind of pride or something that, you know, I'm private and I don't like folks to know. But whether they know or not, it's still the same. If my child has gone to prison, you know, what we used to do when people get pregnant, we send them off. Then they come back. They still had the baby. Well, whoever know it. So the problem, it did not fix the problem. What it was it was an infirmity of me where really I gave you power over my life, where what you thought about me was really, really important. When the thing about it is they talk about you today and they're going to talk about somebody else tomorrow. And so to me, I want to focus more on what the problem is than some kind of assault on my pride. Because if things get bad enough, you'll throw your little pride aside anyway, if you got any sense. What you think?
I talk to my friends about it.
Gee, we don't even know who our friends are.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
He just tried it.
Huh?
I do.
Okay.
I know who they are. Groomed them for years.
You know what I found out?
What?
I found out that some of the folks that I didn't think were my friend was the one that had to come up to me and tell me that's not your friend.
Yeah. I've had that to happen. One who was my friend told me, leave that person alone, and I did. I mean, I'm cordial to you, but...
How long had you walked around thinking that person was your friend?
I did, because it was somebody that I truly, truly cared about. And I never knew that there was a problem between me and this person. And then later on, I found out this person was going to everybody, saying negative things about me that really hurt me. And I never knew that that person felt like that. So, you know, my circle now, I watch who's in my circle.
That's right.
Yeah.
But it don't bother me now. You can say what you want to say.
And I'm the same way too, Jackie. It used to hurt. You can't help but be hurt when they say hurtful things about you that you know is not true. And it hurts you. But you have to grow a tough skin and let those darts bounce off of you. All right. Let's look at, I'm still a private person, Pastor.
You know what, Jane? That's when Deborah need to be here, because when she ain't here, me and you gets into it. But since she ain't here, I'm going to tell you this right here. You ain't private as you think you are. That's when I be trying to do damage control. I throw it out there because they already know anyway.
Okay, 31. And one told David that his counselor was in it. David didn't know that. He didn't know that. Somebody close to you. Now that hurt. Now Pastor can say what he want to say. That hurts. There's somebody close to you. Somebody close to you your confidant, and they say things about you, or they go behind your back and they just deceive you, that hurts. As a human being, that hurts. And that has happened to me, you know. I'm a straightforward person. If I want you to know something, I tell you myself. I don't need anybody to go tell you what I want you to know. All right, let's look at, and David said, "O Lord, pray thee, turn counsel of Ahithophel into foolishness." However he counsels Absalom, turn it into foolishness. And as you read down further, God does turn it into foolishness. See, if you're one of God's children and people are throwing dots at you, they'll bounce off or fly back on them. You don't have to say anything. If they throw up, they're going to either bounce off of you or fly back on them. Because we are human living in this world. And we want folk, you know, you want friends. You can't live isolated. Not as a human being. We are social persons, you know. All right, let's look at, I forgot to mention that David's friend, his name was Hushai. He met David with his head covered, and David told him to go back because you'll slow me down. So I read where they said more than likely, you know, he was old and that he wouldn't be able to keep up with them, because they had to move fast. All right, then he told him to go back to Jerusalem. Watch, have your ears open. Whatever you find out, give it to the priest, and the priest will bring it to me. So just like Absalom had spies out, this was his best friend, and Absalom asked him, "So why are you here? You're friends with my daddy." And he said, "The people wanted you, so I'm going to serve you." But he was there as a spy. How many more minutes? Because I didn't go into another chapter. I can go. Okay. And you know, because they had to flee so fast, they didn't have food. But you know, like that ram in the bush God provides for us, he had one for David. Look at chapter 16 and the first verse. He said, "And when David was little past the top of the hill, behold, Ziba, the servant of Mephibosheth," I know I tore that up, "met him, and with a couple of asses sat, and upon them 200 loaves of bread, and 100 bunches of raisins, and 100 of summer fruits, and a little bottle of wine." So his people had to eat.
Gene, they said you add to the word of God.
Where I at?
That's what Jackie said.
Where I at, Jackie? Huh? Oh, a bottle of wine. I'm sorry. I saw little. I'm sorry, y'all. She right. I did add to it. He bought him a bottle of wine. Thank you, Jackie, because nobody else said a word. Yes, a bottle of wine, but I saw little. These are new glasses, so I'm busy trying to get used to them. Let's look at verse 2. And You know what? Let's look at Psalms 3. While David was on the run, he wrote these Psalms. I think he wrote Psalm 3, 41, I forgot the other one, and 63 while he was on the run. Let's look at 3. When you are worried, go to the Psalms. I promise you they'll lift you up. If you go to those Psalms, Old Testament, but those Psalms, is something about those Psalms. Whenever I'm going through, I go find a Psalm that speaks to what I'm going through. And that load lifts up off of me. But let's read 3. Lord, how are they increased that trouble me? Many are they that rise up against me. Many there be which say of the soul, there is no help for him in God. But thou, O Lord, art a shield, or art a shield for me, and my glory, and the lifter up of my head. Now that verse alone ought to help you when you're going through. A lifter up of my head. I cried unto the Lord with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hill. I laid me down and slept. I awake, for the Lord sustained me. And I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people, because Absalom had thousands that had joined up with him. His son, I know that pierced his heart, because it would have hurt me so bad. Arise, O Lord, save me, O my God, for thou hast smitten all my enemies upon the cheekbone, and thou hast broken the teeth of the ungodly. Salvation belongeth unto the Lord. Thou blessing is upon thy people. Salah. Now he wrote that as he was on the run. And I really believe it lifted him up. I believe that, because when I was going through and debating whether to leave Second Baptist Church, while he was up preaching, I just found me a psalm to read. I'd find a psalm to read when he'd get up and go to preaching. So when you're going through, just find a psalm that's applicable to what is happening to you right then. Because God will lift your head up. I promise you he will. He'll lift your head up.
Well,
no
Gene,
matter what you're going through. Yes, sir.
Let me ask you something. I'm just really showing out since Deborah not here. Let me ask you something. Wouldn't why would you do that rather than just leave? Sit there and a person talking. The worst thing in the world is to ignore a person. A person talking and you're not paying them a bit of attention. Mm-hmm. And I know you can see it on your face, hey, when you're not paying nobody no attention. And so you sitting there, but you reading something else while he's standing up there talking. Why wouldn't you just leave?
And looking all around. I did that. I was wrong, but I did it.
Hold on. What's the day?
Huh?
What's the day? October the 15th, is it? 2017. Yeah. Jean said she was wrong. Praise God. I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna put that. You was wrong. All right.
And then Etta was the one that told me that pastor was teaching a Bible study, because it wasn't going on at that church. No Bible study at all. So I started going to that Bible study, and it just lifted me up. And I went every Wednesday. And then when they moved out here, I started coming. And I went into counsel with pastor and asked him. I said, what do you think? He said, Gene, you don't want to be there. It's time for you to leave. And it was a load that lifted up off of me.
So long as we was in the back of the office, you couldn't come. But when we moved out here, then
I did come.
I thought that's what you said.
I came
Okay.
every Wednesday. Now you remember everything. Now you remember that. See,
I remember you pulling me to the side, telling me you wanted to join church. I said, "Well, come on, we'll take you in."
So what?
I said, "I remember you pulling me to the side, telling me you wanted to join church. You want to join Manasseh."
No,
Yeah.
I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Well, I don't remember everything then.
When they looked up, I was gone. They probably were glad, though. Why? Because, well, you started me. This happened to us all the time. Now, what time is it? Everywhere. Everywhere. Now, what time is it? Oh, well, I can't do anything in 3 minutes. Listen, y'all read the rest of that. I want you to find out what happened to David's counselor, and then think about Judas. Think about what happened.